How's been your day? Good
No
to have.
problems were here.
Okay, sir. Welcoming Dr. Mustafa Sambe, the erudite scholar himself, the Ebora of psychology. We enjoyed you so much yesterday. Uh, we know that today will be another unusual flow of knowledge. Yeah. Thank you so very much, sir. We do not take you for granted. Welcoming Dr. Mba to the show. Welcoming Mr. Oluwayomi Triumph Abakan to the show. You were missed.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Amba here.
Welcome to the show. It's behavioral health fundamentals. What is it all about? What are the fundamental issues? The holistic health and balance in the 21st century. Yesterday was great one, where emphasis was laid on the understanding of the differences in individuals, irrespective of race, color, creed. People are different, even from the same family. Saw that yesterday. And we saw the place of psychological checks, societal health. How that there is no societal health without the individual health. No family health without the individual health. We saw that yesterday. And we saw that what happens in the society for health is the aggregate of the family health system. So we're happy to know you are here to continue in that spread. So everything begins from the individual to the family, then to the society. Dr. Sabe made us realize yesterday that what happens to the individual across board depicts the societal holistic health. So today, we will be continuing from that thread to see community health. What is the expansion in the community health? How do we check up from the neck up? And what are the imperatives of checking up from the neck up in order to ensure comprehensive wholeness? Why is it that medical checks, though very vital and important, is no longer sufficient for holistic health and lifestyle? What do we do? Where do we create the nexus between medical check, psychological check? For some of us, we see more of the behavioral checks. Why do we need to put all of these checks together to find the harmony, to find the completeness and the wholeness of what the health quotient is all about today? So without wasting much time, I will bring up our special guest and teacher, a man of no mean pedigree, Professor. I call him Professor because of his extensive and expansive work across board, everywhere. Here is his profile. Please go through 1-2 minutes, and I bring up Dr. Mustafa Sambe. I'd like to welcome Professor Yindamola Shonola, made very useful contribution yesterday. Welcome, my brother Abdulaziz Balogun, doing great works there and health balance, and every other person, including an individual whose phone is Samsung SMA. We hope to have your full name here so that we can relate together. So join me as I bring up to the stage Dr. Mustafa Sambe to open the floor. We are going to make it a bit participatory today so that everybody will learn the voice to these fundamentals as we consider the issues before us. Community health expanded, checking up, neck up, so that we can be great, neck down, and also neck forward. Welcome with me, Dr. Sambe, today. Over to you, Prof. You're welcome, sir.
Good evening, good day. First saying good day, ladies and gentlemen, so that at least I can avoid being contradicted by any other client outside of my client. Having said that, I should like to say a very big thank you to Professor Shonola and Dr. Komolafe for the support for the expansion or addition of numbers of participants today. Haven't been reassured that at least today will be better than yesterday's. Having said that, you can see that knowledge is not limited. Otherwise, if you have to wake Graham Bell up today and say the same principle that is being applied for the telephony while he was discovering it, it's still the same principle. If he has to hold various versions of mobile phones, I'm sure he will shudder and say unbelievable, incredible, and continue to blow all the bombastic grammar. That is to show to us that if the community is healthy, if families are healthy, the tendency for advancement in various forms will be higher. Today, we shall be looking at community health and checking for health, neck up and neck down, home holistic health. It will not be out of place to let us position that there are certain essentials that will form the components for community health. In other words, when we are looking at community health, what should we be expecting? We should be expecting, one, health education. Health education can come in form of awareness campaign, come in form of reaching out to various groups, call it age grade, call it community societies, call it parents teachers association, call it heads of schools, call it market women and market men or road transport association, reaching out to them to let them understand or appreciate the dynamics of health and healthy behaviors as against or opposed to unhealthy behavior that will now precipitate or lead us to hospitalization or debilitation or underproductivity due to ill health. Community engagement is a very critical component of community health, in which the health facilitators or experts should be in partnership with the community to appreciate what are the concerns of the community. Unlike more often in our community or society or country, Nigeria, we allow loading on us, international communities' views on what should be our concern about health. Meanwhile, when one is expected to do community engagement whilst doing community health, one is expected to engage with the community, to appreciate what are the areas of needs. Like in some communities, it could be, for example, in the southern part of Nigeria, it could be waterborne diseases that will be their challenge. Meanwhile, in the northern area, it could be airborne diseases that will be their own challenge. Community health includes health promotion. In other words, developing concerns that are healthy in terms of lifestyle, clean water, not necessarily sachet water or bottled water, but maintaining an understanding and differing to appreciate what is clean water or what are the characteristics of what a clean water should be like. How can one enjoy a good night's sleep? More often than not in us, even amongst the elite, we find out that based on clinical experience now, some people will complain of back pain, poor night's sleep. Unfortunately, they have not been able to appreciate the fact that it is the mattress that they are lying on that has concerns. Something that is commonly described in Yoruba parlance as Origba, Sokoto, Esegba Pota, and then the bottom or the median area of the person who is sleeping is seemingly like sinking or in a ditch. Obviously, the person is not going to enjoy the sleep one, and the person is not going to wake up on the right side of the bed upon wakefulness. Preventive health care is another major concern that one will expect that community health care givers should do. Such will include checkups that will now look at from psychological perspective later, from neck up, neck down, and sure-footed forward. Immunization and vaccinations against communicable diseases and non-communicable diseases are major concerns under this domain. The focus of community health is to advance the minimization of healthcare disparities. In other words, bringing down the facilities or expertise that will help the community to enjoy global health or quality of life. The issue about community health centers development, domiciling mental health care and social support in the community is a major goal. Am I getting any information, or should I go on?
Please go on, sir.
Thank you very much. In our climate, childhood psychopathology or childhood pathologies generally, or disease conditions, are found to be basically thriving under nutritional deficiency. This is because even the adults, the parents, have not been able to come to terms with how to balance their diet, and they cover it up with, when my pocket no balance, how can I balance diet? More often than not, we leave our health to chase wealth, and when we now get the wealth, we now be chasing the health. We shouldn't be, and the way forward is to ensure that we use our wealth and health simultaneously to pursue quality lifestyle and quality living. Doing community health, it shouldn't be done in abstraction or from one office that is not known to the community. Rather, it should be done by assessing the needs of the community, getting to the community to find out what areas of concerns or needs that they desire. This is because disease conditions are often typical of particular environment. Like I was discussing with someone a couple of days ago, that the best Australian tropical medical expert might not, who is practicing in Australia, might not have seen cases of malaria as you find doctors in Africa or doctors in mosquito-prone areas in Africa. These are major concerns. Just as a corollary to our discussion yesterday, we need to understand cultural differences and dynamics in addressing issues of community health. The community that is egalitarian, cosmopolitan, will need fast-track approach to health, unlike the community that is rural, essentially traditional, who delight in you prescribing the herbs and leaves and roots that are available in the local community to take care of their health concerns, than bringing medication from faraway land that might be out of reach to them. Never mind the sound, it's raining in Ofa as we are speaking. We need to identify top public concerns within the specific community and development of plans for intervention in community health. Residents will require to be educated in terms of what to do, where to go, who to see, when to see, and how to see. And on top of it, helping residents to gain access to resources that will ameliorate their unhealthy conditions. Community health will help to reduce the need for expensive emergency care and hospitalization. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to quickly let us look at checking for health, neck up and neck down with sure legs forward. And this is to let us appreciate the fact of what is commonplace in our community. I'm sure those of us around the Western area would have gotten to hear at one time or the other, money misroad. Or an individual who is attending a party function, who is even overdressed than the host or hostess. All of these are dynamics of ta ni ó lẹ́rù, ta ló ń pa láàrù. In other words, there are some people, you will allow me to use clearly the feminine, especially in our own climb here, where they will do nails, eyelashes, and the sorts. There is what we call in psychopathology manic dressing. You will see that this individual will dress in multicolors that are not congruous at all. Yellow, red, and black, and all of those mosaic colors that would depict what could be wrong with this individual. However, if that individual had been presented for medical checks, the individual might pass on medical checks. But on mental health check, which is, or psychological health check, which is what we have encapsulated into checking neck up, neck down to facilitate sure legs forward. We'll see that this individual might not have passed in that area. We should quickly remember that our thinking affects our feelings, and our feelings affects our behavior. Classically, like, I want to assume that if not all of us, majority of us at this program will either fall into the category of being a Muslim or Christian. Therefore, if we at one time have attended church program or mosque sermon, we would have thought that imam or pastor is looking at you. Meanwhile, it is you that is looking at the pastor. The pastor might not see you in the crowd. Let me give you a classic example. I saw a lady in a clinical setting at a ward round. She was anticipating the pastor was going to marry her. Unfortunately, the pastor went to the village to pick a spouse, and she broke down. During interaction with her, she said that the pastor, I full in body, then I quit to say, you know, as psychologists, we are open to a statement clarification. So I now asked her, do you mean that your eye full pastor body? And she quickly said, yes, as for my eye full in pastor body, my eye full pastor body well. To that extent, she's the one that is engrossed in the feelings for the pastor, not necessarily that the pastor is as much or halfway interested in her. So more often than not, we think the other person, like especially among our female folks, kind of thing, that the person is looking at her in a derogatory manner. Meanwhile, the person might just be blinking at that time. It is the person's emotion or feelings or grudges that the other party is unaware of. And that is why we say there is no health without mental health. And even the World Health Organization had so clarified that. I tell you, I just saw a young boy in a private highbrow school just last week. And on BDI is Berg's depression inventory to assess for depression. The minimum score for normal depression is between 0 and 9. And guess what? On item 9 of that scale, which I will read out to you now, the item 9 states that suicidal thoughts or wishes. 0 reads, I don't have any thoughts of killing myself. I have thoughts of 1, I have thoughts of killing myself, but I will not carry them out. 2, I would like to kill myself. 3, I will kill myself if I can have the chance. On the surface, a respondent to this objective instrument may score less than 9. For example, this had scored, if this child has scored 3 on that and scored the rest 0, 0, 0, and all is added up to 3. If the therapist or the psychologist or evaluator or psychometrist is not skilled in item by item evaluation, he or she would have presented a gross professional ineptitude by saying that this individual is healthy. Meanwhile, if that individual has scored 3 on item 9, that individual, by international best practice, is supposed to go straight into hospitalization. You may ask why. Even mosquitoes don't want to die. Rats, if you miss hitting it at a goal, I'm sure you would have missed it for life. Cultural concerns. Before now, young people wearing earrings in our setting will seem like, are you mad? Are you a bastard? But now you see the cultural infiltration. Thoughts are getting weird. Lifestyles of wannabe. To us, it will be better to let us appreciate the fact that anybody that is behaving contrary to permissible or admissible societal norm or family norm requires neck-up check beyond neck down, that is medical, physical, so that the person can be behaving well as a sure leg forward. Wow. I want to thank you for your time. Thank you. Yeah.
Please, a round of applause for our erudite professor, Dr. Sambe Mustafa Dia. Wow, what a captivating subject. While I was sharing, it just dawned on me the question Professor Shonola asked yesterday. And Prof, you're welcome. Today, we would like to hear from you. Doctor, I've just spoken about community health. How do we capture this imperative in the school community setup, especially as having to do with parenting? I want to see community health in the school arena. What are the gaps? How well has that community captured holistic health education, promotion, healthcare, immunization, vaccination, and then the capacity to capture cultural differences, the dynamics involved, and even the differences in pupils, parenting, parents themselves, and the next between their school, their parents, and their society. So, Professor Shonola would like to hear you, maybe in just 2-3 minutes. What are those gaps? Because it's an issue worth considering. We're talking about community health. Let's begin from the cradle and then to the roof. Over to you, Prof, while Professor Onyidamola Shotonade will be warming up. Thank you. The floor is yours, Prof.
You must give me this professorial title. Because since
Already
you're
giving man.
It's award day, Boomer.
yeah. But actually, thank you very much for asking for my views. As I was listening to Professor, I was jotting down some things concerning the fact that we need to really break things down for those of us who are in the school field, in the education field, so that they understand better. Because like I discussed with him, I said I would try to share with a lot of our schools, those counselors, so that they can come to attend to this program. But actually, some of the areas he has touched are issues that schools are really dealing with. And it's causing a lot of concern, especially now that some schools are afraid to speak out when they see some weird be in a school for some months for crisis management. And I was surprised to see the dressing of some of the parents, even when they bring their children to school.
Wow.
And some are almost naked, some with their breasts showing, very, I found it, and it's in an eyebrow school.
Wow.
And a secondary school for that matter. And that got me thinking. I asked the authorities, why are you not having parenting classes to share with these parents the impact of this type of attitude? And they told me that, you see that lady, she's mental, you cannot talk to her. But at the same time, what I see with the schools is that they don't want to lose the child, help the child. And on further investigation, I discovered that the daughter is already acting in a funny way, even, chasing boys. Wow. And doing some things that were not normal. And also in terms of nutrition, I also had opportunity years ago to coordinate a group of schools. And Mr. Biggs was open in the 80s, was just newly opened by the side of that school. And suddenly I discovered that children were bringing in bags of meat pie for their lunch instead of proper food. And it was becoming a style. They would just stop over, buy the junk food. So I needed to quickly intervene, because most of the issues that I observed with my own little background in guidance and counseling, I quickly look for ways of running parenting classes to support the parents. So I needed to bring in a nutritionist who came to teach us some basic ways to prepare nutritional food that would not waste time, because majority of the parents were parents who will leave home very early and come back very late. So I think I would like to request, because I'm trying to bring in the practical cases in the school environment, that this, your field, really matters. I feel that there would need to be a way you can design a module which is basic and practical, and liaise with school organizations so that they can be involving you in terms of training for parents. Some parents don't even think that they have issues. And no,
Wow. Thank you, Mama. I think it's
up
network.
deck down.
Okay.
That it is broken down for them to understand. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so very much. With the authoritative permission from Dr. Mustafa Sambe, I wish to move a motion that this platform will set up a stakeholders forum of parents, basic parenting workshop on a national forum, so as to be able to incorporate all of these. And guess what? By the grace of God, we create content, develop concept, and that is going to be given a pivotal outlook there. So, Prof. Mama, you are going to be very pivotal in this work. So we'll reach you later and see what we can do to create a paradigm shift in that community. Thank you so very much for enlightening us and opening our eyes to see that critical gap. And I think Dr. Sambe is in agreement with me. Doctor, are you in agreement?
Absolutely, from
So,
head
Mama,
to toe.
it is done.
Thank you.
Over to Professor Fumi Sotunade here. We want to hear your voice.
Shotonode, Shotonode, get it right, sir. Shotonode, Shotonode.
Okay.
I'm sure Komolafe is a Yoruba name.
Are you here?
Although you have stayed too long in Mola's zone.
Okay.
All right, sir. That's on the lighter side.
So while we wait for Professor Fumi Sotonode, we like to make a few comments there before our time is up to highlight further on the community health issue that is being expanded and exploded to us. And it is a combination of the holistic health, the mental health, which is the intellectual health, the physical health, which is the intentional health. Even our decision affects our health. And then spiritual health, just as he mentioned, whether Christian, Muslim, majorly, it has a heavy weight on our health quotient. Please, if you are not speaking now, can you mute yourself?
Please mute your speakers, mute your
Thank you,
microphone if you are not
Lawal.
speaking, so that we can have one out.
And then emotional health is critical. In this side of the world, Auntie Jumoke Lawal, can you mute yourself? We're hearing you recite some things. Okay, we mute everybody.
Is there any way she can be muted?
Okay, let's see. I made you a
Maybe
co-host. Please
you can mute her.
Dr. Mustafa, you are a co-host. Please mute her while I don't get distracted. So, what we're saying is the fact that all of this combined together will be able to give us a better appreciation of the health assessment in our time. So the intuitive health matters, intentional health, intellectual health, and the inspirational health. When you combine these four, then you have little left behind for the medical health. But where it is warped in any of these cases, then we have so many issues not catered for, because the neck-up factor matters a huge lot. The heart of the matter, people say, is the matter of the heart, but that notwithstanding, necessarily, the sufficient condition is that what happens neck up matters a huge lot. And when Prof is talking neck up, from neck up, we are looking at the eyes, how you see, your perspective matters. The ear, how you hear it and translate it matters a huge lot. The mind or brain, how you think it, your perception that informs your perspective matters a huge lot in health. So that's why we are saying beyond the medical checks, you need to check all these various domains to see how healthy an individual is. Because once it is wrong there, it can go as well as to affect the medical health. So very vital.
Maybe, sorry, sir, Dr. Komolafe, by way of addition.
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us take a cue from that doctor that parked his car, Jeep, on Third Mainland and took a dive into the lagoon.
Yeah.
Shouldn't we be thinking that something must be wrong? Neck up. These are issues of concern.
Very, very.
Then can I quickly ask if Dr. Mba and Carolina Jasa can say one or two things, please? In that order. Dr. Mba, please.
Dr. Mba, over to you.
Thank you so much.
That's a medical doctor in the house.
The presentation is quite loaded with information. And I think what happens in a community also has to do with the traditions of those communities. I have observed that communities have some settings that were passed to them from their forefathers, which is still affecting their health today. Let me give an instance. Female genital mutilation is an age-long wrong practice that people have seen as proper practices. And we need to intervene also in this area. Outside of that, there is also this practice I also came across when we went to the South region for medical outreach, where a situation whereby when a woman is to be married out, they will keep her in a room and load her with food and all sorts of food. And that leads to obesity. And the woman comes out. Yes. The next thing is you begin to see hypertensive heart disease. In these patients, somebody that had lived normal has now been tilted into an abnormal person by reason of tradition. So I think also we look into that when we are also examining these patients neck up. I think I need to stop here.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful contribution from a medical doctor who subscribes so well to psychological elements and experiences in the
cultural dynamics.
The cultural dynamics is so critical. So when we are running this stakeholders forum, I think we are going to put a heavy weight on that, especially in schools. Why am I emphasizing schools? Because that is the place to begin from, to raise a new generation who are not so embellished and entrenched in the negative cultural practices that are so much impervious to the current health dynamics of the society. So is Professor Fumi ready for us now?
It's me, sir. Mrs. Ajasa.
Okay, Mrs. Ajasa, 1 minute.
Okay, sir. I want to say something. Good evening, sir. I want to say something about good community interaction which will enhance good community health. For example, in schools, you see these parents of these children, most of them go out early, very early, and come back late. But during the Parent-Teachers Association meetings in the school, because I was once a teacher before I retired, we could see that most parents, they were not even coming to attend. So those that came are those that were around, not even the parents of the students. And when they are going to give feedback, it is those ones that came that gave feedback to the parents of those ones that are not around. So I think there should be better interaction among residents in the community, which will enhance good community health. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for that contribution. Mr. Oluwayomi Triumph Apaton is here. And that's a young man in Lagos out there who is doing a huge lot under the auspices of the Care for Teachers. Sir, do you have a word or two to share with us as having to do with comprehensive wholeness of teaching and the gaps you have seen so far?
My Oga, I celebrate you, sir. Dr. James Kolomolafe, my mentor, I celebrate you. Professor Mustafa, I celebrate you, sir. And every renowned individuals on this platform. Sir, God has been faithful. Between January and now, we've been able to impart 644 teachers in just one district, educational district in Lagos. And one of the things that you have taught me, I actually implemented them. I engaged on the therapeutic and diagnostic platform.
Wow!
And it was so convincing because that's the beginning of my workshop. And every time that they engage on that form, their eyes are open.
Wow!
Talking about their concepts, talking about their contribution, talking about their what's it called, their network. Their eyes became open and said that, look, there's much more in teaching than just coming to class and running your energy.
Wow.
And God's so good, sir. The testimony has been phenomenal. We've been able to have an audience with the PAMSEC of education, the teachings, TESCOM, they call them TESCOM, Teaching Service Commission, Lagos State. We've had an audience, and then they endorsed the framework that I discussed with you that you equally put together for me.
Wow.
And they endorsed that they equally now say that I'm going to be permanent on their training module for Lagos State. And they open up the old district that as you go from one district to the other, running the neck up and then the neck down, platform. So, sir, it's been what Prof said today is equally very, very handy because what I take to them is that, look, I don't want to focus on any other thing. I only focus on you teachers. Some of my workshop, some of them will begin to talk about some other stakeholders. I need to talk about the government, talk about the parents. I said, excuse me, no. What I'm saying, the people I'm saying to is you. If you can get it right, every other thing will get it right.
Thank you so very much.
And it's been very loud. We thank God for
we are going to engage you for the teachers' side. Why Madam Oyinda Mola from the parents' angle is Professor Fumi Shotonade having a contribution before we call it a day. So count yourself to be one of us in this National Stakeholders Forum on Parenting Workshop, Mr. Triumph, who is already applying the neck-up principle and getting results. It is an unfailing principle. We develop it here. Local content, but globally relevant. You can hear the testimonial of Mr. Triumph here. He's doing a huge lot among the teachers, and it is working. So teachers are now beginning to see that there is more to just come into the classroom and talk. Their personal concept, their construct and contribution as he has emphasized, matters. And there are facts and figures for it to check behavior, because life is 70% behavior and 30% operation. So we are bringing all this gamut together to create an advancement in health that gives strength for wealth. Thank you so very much. Any other contribution in the house? Mr. Abdulaziz Balogu, welcome back. You have a word to say before we call it a day?
No, sir.
Okay. Professor
How about Mrs. Agi?
Okay.
Mrs. Agnes Babatunde?
Mama Adewoye?
So,
thank you for calling me, because I've been signaling that I want to talk.
Yes. Please, let's hear you.
So,
sorry.
do we have time?
Yes, 2 minutes.
Go ahead, ma. Go ahead.
Yes, I very much endorse the parental, counseling that we are trying to put forward, because you see that there are lots of problems in the homes, and these are taken to the schools and, of course, the community at large, especially young people involved in drugs, and parents don't know what to do. They go to rehabilitation center, they come back, they go to, they are pushed, they get back into crime, police, and all sorts of things. So I think that venture, that project is a laudable one.
We'll enclose that one as well. And I want
to appreciate Dr. Sambe's presentation. I think what you said, even though it's community health, it should also involve environmental health. The environment where the people live affects their behavior and their health.
Thank you so
Thank you very much.
So on this note, let's take our cliche. Since there is a convergence in the house, please everybody do what I do, as we call it a day today, because that's the summary of it all. Say after me, I will always check up from the neck up.
I will always check up
from the neck up.
In order to be good neck down.
In order
to be good neck down.
And when I am good neck down,
when I am
good neck down,
then I will be great leg forward.
Then I
will be great leg forward.
A check up from the neck up.
Check up from the neck
up.
Will make me good neck down.
Will make me good
neck down.
So that I will be great leg forward.
So that I'll be great leg forward.
Laugh for yourself. Thank you so very much. Please send us your WhatsApp number so that we can send you these details and the way forward. We want to carry you along, and wherever that you are, we are going to link up with you as we hit the ground running for this stakeholders conference, where we bring all the teachers together, online, offline, on-site, and engage with parents and sort out our children. Today, we're calling it a day, and tomorrow is the grand finale. Please call somebody. That is the icing of the cake. We're going to be talking tomorrow about the no-grow-show strategy. What you know, grow it and show it. We're going to weave a template for you to use on your various platforms, and you can be happy you did. As Triumph shared testimonies, so we're also going to hear your testimonials, because it doesn't fail. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Dr. Mustafa Sambe, everyone who participated and contributed. Dr. Umba, you are great. God bless you. And have a lovely evening. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye. Thank you, my Professor Shonola.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, my